We have Brent Csutoras here with us. He talked a lot about the new features on Dig 4. Brent, you talked a lot about a lot of the features. Now, what can people, marketers, brands do with some of those features?
Sure. So a lot of the features that are coming in Dig are really going to change how people interact with the site and how the site interacts with people. So it's really going to become much more about being an influencer, and that was one of the things that I was talking about. And one of the ways that people can kind of adjust to that is the interaction, the integration of the other sites. So what Dig has made a really strong effort towards going forward, and what a lot of the other sites are doing as well, is they're utilizing people's Twitter accounts, their Facebook accounts, their Gmails and stuff like that in order to give them kind of a boost in the followers. And the new Dig really focuses around followers. It's all about meeting the people that are in your other networks. So what I think really people need to do is they need to make sure that they have like the same email addresses that they use for their Dig account match their Twitter account. Make sure that they're really getting in that network. Maybe send out a mass email to a bunch of people with your Gmail, your email account that's associated with your interactions. Make sure your Twitter accounts match up and your Facebook account match up. That way a lot of your friends and fans can find you when they come over and sign up the new accounts and so forth. Additionally, I think that really spending the time to build out those networks while you still can. Like it used to be like that you could get away with just voting for enough people's stuff. You'd get kind of it was like an assumed friendship, right? It was like, I obviously like the stuff that you're doing, and if you like what I'm doing, then we can be kind of mutual friends. A lot of that tends to go away. So I think that people need to take the time maybe to get in there and start going back to where 2 years ago, where you really needed to look for people's IM names and really look for like their email addresses and start hitting them up and talking to them more. But I think that really looking at those two things and then focusing on quality more than ever. You cannot just vote on anything. You need to really be voting on the quality things, and your votes are now like submissions, and treat them that way. And I think that you should have a good chance at growing with the new Dig.
Brent, you also mentioned that a lot of the people who are influencers on Dig have been for a while and have been using it for a while. Do you think that people who just started to use Dig or just started to find out how to get stuff on there can become influencers at all?
I think that they can. I think that there's going to be an opportunity for it. It's the same thing as every site that you talk about. I mean, it's the same thing as rankings in a search engine. It's the same thing as Twitter accounts. I mean, when you have age in a community, just like in the real world, when you've been a part of an association for years, you're going to have a certain level of credibility that comes with that. And that's what's going to make you an influencer. And somebody can come in and they can get to the top of that organization or that group of that website, but it tends to take a little more work, where the people that were there at the beginning kind of get grandfathered into that visibility. So yeah, it is something that people can do, but it's going to take the work, it's going to take the time, and sometimes it's not always going to work for everybody.
Do you see a solid future? Do you know what is going to happen with Dig from now on?
See, that's the funny thing with Kevin Rose and Dig, is that Kevin's really big on being current with the trends, and he's always shown kind of a tendency to make changes regardless of whether or not they're necessarily the best changes or not in the aftermath. He's really kind of open to giving it a shot. And so I really wonder I have some ideas of where I think it's going to go, and the fact that it's getting more and more like Twitter. So in a way, I kind of joke about this with somebody the other day. It's like Dig was made as an alternative to Slashdot, which was admin driven. It was driven by a certain select group of people who would determine what the popular content was for everybody to read. And in a way, some of the changes that have come in the new Dig kind of start to sound more like Slashdot. It's giving the power to a handful of influencers who have a big enough network that they're able to determine basically what the taste is for the day. So I think that in a way it's kind of gone more towards that, and I think that a lot of the core users, and I think that in a way there's a potential for this new Dig to be almost like a completely new social site.
Awesome.
And really kind of cutting all the old people. Like, you have to make a decision. Are you part of the new Dig, or are you just done? And so the future of it, it's really hard to tell, but I think that there's definitely a chance for a future with Dig.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brent.
Cheers.
Brent is one of the partners here at BlueGlass, so stay tuned for a lot more words of expertise from him. One final question from our Twitter followers. What deodorant do you use?
Actually, honestly, swear to God, Old Spice.